Ah, hello. Hello, hello. How's everybody doing? So, today, we're back in Planet Zoo, and we're back in Old Town, and I thought we'd start by just letting this wonderful little cinematic camera do some work, because, well, I mean, how great is it? Very, very useful tool for creators wanting to do tour stuff and everything at the end of a build. So yeah, it's a very, very nice addition to the game, and I'm quite grateful for it. I think it's one of the best ones they've done in a while. So yeah, it's exciting. It's very exciting. And today we're going to be building brand new habitat back in Old Town, which is a lot of fun. And we're going to be doing a Somali Wild Ass habitat. Now, the Somali Wild Ass came with the latest Arid pack, so that's going to be a good one. Hey Diz, how you doing? Oh. Oh no. I want to hide, stay off you, leave me alone. So yeah, this is going to be very, very exciting. I'm just going to let this continue to play through while we wait for people to come in, and then we'll actually start building. And I'm going to try not to do too much rock work today. I think I'd like to start a little bit more in-depth creation of things like barriers today. So yeah, really good, thanks Diz. Just finished work and just having a nice kind of chilled out stream tonight. Gonna take my time with some builds and just have a nice easy relaxing evening. So yeah, it's looking pretty good. Did he just wave at the camera? I think he did. Unless he was waving to customers. But yeah, it's nice to be back in Old Town. It's been a long time, so I thought, we'd start this with just a little bit of a look back at everything that we kind of built when we started this one off, because it's a very long time since we last came here. And like I said, it's nice to come back. So this is going to be a really nice return to this location, and having a good old build in the farmland area that we started on before we switched over and kind of wrapped up this first series. So yeah, I'm very excited for this one. And I've been waiting a while to get some sort of animal that we could put in here to finish the area off, and now we have it with the Somali Wild Ass, so that's going to be good. And I think I might put the desert cat in this area as well, in like an indoor enclosure. So you're going to kind of see the area where I'm planning on building that as well today. But yeah, looking very much forward to it. So hopefully we'll get a few more people in before we dive into the building section and stuff, and then we can have a really good old time exploring build options and making some nice fences and things like that. So a little bit less of a dramatic area. Yeah, this one's really cool. This is from earlier on in this series. It's the first kind of area that we built. So that'll be a good one. It's nice to come back here and just look at it again. I think the llamas are up next. But the cinematic tour thing is fantastic. I think it's such a good new feature in the game, especially for making videos and stuff, because it's going to save so much time. Obviously now all I need to do is make sure that I'm in the right place to actually capture the animals' behaviors. Hello Ian, how you doing, mate? Oh, every time I put my drink back down, it moves my mouse, and then the UI comes back. It's the most immersion breaking thing. So we're almost at the end of the little tour. Do we want to play this again now that we've got more people coming in, and then we can talk a little bit? Oh, a week's holiday, Ian. Nice, amazing. 2 weeks until mine. I'm off to Greece, so if I can get some videos done and queued up for then, that would be good, but I don't know if that's going to be possible. We've got a busy couple of weeks leading up to it, but yeah, I'm excited to get away. Are you going anywhere, or are you just taking the time and having a nice week off? I think we're just going to start the build as soon as we get round here. This has gone a little bit slow. Normally, so maybe I should do a quick dissection of this cinematic camera thing, because it's quite easy to use, and I'm quite surprised by how easy it is to use. Oh, decorating. Yeah, that's another... it's either holidays or decorating. That's what the week off's for. Never. Well, I hope you get some time to relax and chill out as well. Okay, so it's been quite funny doing the cinematic tour stuff, because it's allowed me to kind of see areas here that we need to improve, like the fact that the water all the way around, like these little canalways and stuff in Old Town, doesn't have any detail in there at all. So I should probably put some greenery and rocks and stuff in there. But as Old Town was never actually finished, we've still got to do the farm district and everything on that. And then once that's done, then I'll do all of this little tidying up bits, because that walkway going all the way around as well, I'd quite like to make a few adjustments to that. But we're just swooping on past the foxes. One of the best things about it, though, is no hands. I just let this play through, so I don't need to do anything. I don't need to show off anything. I queue it up and I let it play, and I can actually watch it myself and think, oh yeah, we did a good job with this. Look at all those different variations in the foxes that we've got as well. And then sweeping past these pens, we'll be coming over to the Kowalski's horses soon. And that will end the little tour. But what I can do is I'll briefly go through some of the features, and hopefully we'll get a few more coming in, because it's looking like a quiet stream so far, but we might get a few people coming in a bit later on. And yeah, yeah, exciting. No, do you know what? Let's get on with the build. That's what I said I was going to do, so that's what we're going to do. Today, as I've already mentioned, it's Somali Wild Ass habitat time. So let's just cut this tour short. But yeah, so I'll maybe do a little bit of a cinematic route editor tutorial at some point, so you can all see how it works. So we are now, just pause the game a second. We're kind of at the back of Old Town here. So we have our red deer there, and then the Kowalski's horse here. The tropical areas over there. One thing I do want to show you before I do start fully is I removed all of the supports from this gondola ride, because they're horrible. If I just quickly go into my track editor, I'll show you what they look like, because they're not nice. So if we just select this section of track and then put the track supports back in, they're so invasive, and they really, really like interrupt a build. Like, especially when they put them down wherever they want. You can't select where your supports go. So this going straight through our dwarf caiman habitat is awful. So what I've started doing is I just designed some custom supports that look pretty much exactly the same, but rather than going over the top and looking really garish and stuff, they just join up directly with the track, and I can put them wherever I want without breaking the immersion, because having it just floating in the air looks terrible as well. So yeah, those supports are all going to be put in all the way around the route in locations that aren't so disruptive. Like, I've put one here by this wall. We've got one on the edge of that cliff there, and then kind of going either side of the waterfall. And I'll just find places where I can actually put them in where they don't look so invasive and in your face. So that's something that I'm going to do as well before we move back to the mountain region. But let's get started on this. So the first thing I want to do is just the usual stuff. I'm going to work on a barrier to begin with. And I kind of want to make something that's a little bit more traditional British farmland. So this might be a little bit tedious, but I'm going to try and make something... yeah, usually what I do is I theme per biome, so I'll change things up a little bit. Like, obviously here we've got this quintessentially, like, British countryside Tudor village that I built. And then over in our tropical area, you can see the build sets that I use change, the trees and foliage change everything, and yeah, but it's just a choice, basically. Then when coming into the mountains, I wanted to go something a little bit more like North American. So again, the trees and stuff change. I try and keep the rocks and stuff all the same, or at least have some sort of merge into the next biome. But yeah, it's all kind of personal choice, really. You don't have to, but yeah, Hello, Georgia. How you doing? Welcome to the stream. And yeah, so that's basically how I do it, Ian. Most people will do separate themed zoos. Some people will do biomes and stuff, biome specific zoos. But yeah, I think it's personal preference. And unfortunately, the one thing you can't do is oh, the gondola supports, right? I think you. I don't know if you actually can. Oh well, actually, yeah. So the original stock gondola supports you can't theme per biome, but I suppose if you make custom supports and stuff, you definitely can do that. It's just a lot more time consuming because you have to design them yourself. But I just went for some stock basic metal ones because they're already tall structures as they are, the gondola rides, and they take quite a while to put together. You've got to have them quite high off the ground. So having something like, if I did a temple themed one, it would be really like chunky. So I wanted to just do something a little bit simple. Right, let's get our... To begin with, we're going to grab this 1 meter high wall. I'm going to get rid of that. Then we are going to select the whole thing and reset the rotation to the world axis. Now I'm not going to get any awkward bits in my wall. And the idea is going to be to edit this. We want to go into nature. You're a vampire, Georgia. And then I want to grab these aquatic faux rocks. And we just want to use some of these small ones, these little blocks here. And I want to not get them to snap. I don't know what the widget speed control is. That's a brand new feature as well. I'm not quite sure what that entails, but interesting. And then I'm going to drop this down to here. And this is going to help me measure up. So I want it to just come out a little bit so that the texture just sticks out the end there. There. Place that, and then it should automatically rotate, and then we'll place one on this side. There. Right. Now we can put another one in up the top. Kind of like there. I think that would be a decent... Yep, just so it's poking out the top. And then we'll do the same with this one. Bring it up to the top. Like that. Get rid of that piece. And now we kind of have the area where I'm going to be building this first wall section. We are going to change the colour of these blocks because sandstone, the sandy fake colour isn't going to work for us. Then we just need to duplicate some more rocks and put them into position. And then we'll start building our mishmash of a wall here using all of these pieces. So again, it doesn't need to be straight or anything like that. We can just leave it as it is because I want variation on these. You know, when you go to like the countryside in the UK and they've got those farm walls that are kind of like lined out when they have their pastures and stuff, but they're like really old stone. So they've crumbled a little bit and then they've been replaced and all they've done is wedge another stone in its place. That's what we're trying to create here. And I think that's going to be a nice natural touch to this. Obviously, we're using the faux rocks, so it's not going to be completely... Now that I've got those larger ones, I'm going to bring in some of these really small ones. In fact, actually, what we could do, rather than this, let's just use some of these larger ones. And we'll build up the whole section here. I'm just going to turn off random rotation because it's more of a hindrance than anything for me at the moment. And we'll just grab these and rotate around. And bring these up into position. And then we'll add in a couple of extra, like, flip these ones around, bring them into place. And this isn't the finished article. I'm not just going to use these stones and then be done with it. We're going to use the smaller ones to add a little bit of thickness onto it and a little bit more texture. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to run like a small fence across the top of it so that there's some sort of additional barrier on the top. Okay, so far so good. While I'm on, I'm going to change the colours now. So we want to kind of get like a greyish colour on here. Something quite dark, but not too dark. I think there, but if we can get somewhere in between on this. Like, no, that's red now. I guess that will do. And then the cracks, we want them to be black. Now, we'll not see a great deal of the cracks in here, but we can then start bringing in these faux rocks and just adding extra bits in left, right, and centre. So then we can actually put on our random rotation. And the idea with these pieces is they're going to start forming the variation in our wall here. So there's probably going to end up being a lot of pieces in this. But if it works for us, that's all that matters. Once we get the first section built, it's a case of duplicating it and moving it all the way around. So hopefully we'll not have too much similarity in them, and there'll be a nice bit of variation on the actual textures and the way that these pieces are rotated. And then all of this like dry stone coverage will hopefully give our build a nice finish. And at the moment, I'm leaving the colours as they are because it means I can actually see what I'm doing. That doesn't mean it's going to be permanent, but it should give us a nice looking finish. And what we can also probably do is bring out some of these, not the large bit. The small one might actually work if we go to align to surface and we can just sink this into the wall a little bit as well. Yeah, that kind of works, and that would save us a little bit of time. And then these blocks and stuff, we can add them in, but I like this shape here as well. That gives us certainly a lot of maneuverability. And the larger stones would probably be on the bottom of the wall. Let me just quickly alter the terrain here, just so I can keep working effectively. Don't want the grass to cause too much of a disruption. Right, back on track. Right, that works. That's looking good. We're starting to get somewhere with it now. We just need to keep building this up with various different rock pieces. So if I can now just start bringing more of these smaller pebbles in, as long as we have that random rotation on, we'll continue getting these nice looking effects. And then eventually we'll just be able to change it all up and continue expanding the wall so that it eventually gets to a really nice finish. I said I wasn't going to do rock work, and I've ended up doing kind of rock work, but all roads lead to rock work, unfortunately, in Planet Zoo. You have no choice in the matter. I can't believe I just did. Did you see that? Oh dear. You might not have caught it, but I totally just leant in there to see if I could see round the corner of the. That's not how the game works. I do that when I'm really concentrating, so you need to watch out for it. I will literally, I'll be like this, and I'll be like, I need to see round here. In fact, what am I doing? If I go random rotation all, actually, this will rotate the entirety of the rock. I totally forgot about that. So you can see now, rather than it just rotating on a singular axis, the rock rotates across all of the axes. So you get even more variation in the stonework here. And we're just going to put a couple that are coming right the way down here. I do it all the time, Georgia. Honestly, I'm really bad for it. And we should probably check the other side of the wall as well, because some of these might be a little bit big and they may well be poking out the other side. But that's not too much of a problem, actually, because it does give us something to work with already for the second part. And you'll notice that some of these are going really, really tight to the edge. And that's okay, because we can eventually... you know, we've got that rock in the background there, so anything that's going very, very tight up against the wall. I mean, look at this. This is looking really, really good already. Yeah. It's yeah, that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm going for. This is pretty much exactly the kind of inspiration, because a lot of the old Hadrian's Wall, as time progressed, and when we started kind of, you know, when we moved into like the Middle Ages and the medieval age, and we were selling land, and we needed something to mark those lands. And what actually happened was bits of Hadrian's Wall were stolen. They did not have permission to take them, the farmers, but a lot of them stole chunks of Hadrian's Wall, took the stones directly off the wall to create their farmland barriers. So that's a genuine thing that happened. But you know, we're going all the way back to like early feudalism and stuff, when the country itself was separated into the counties, basically. So, you know, like Northumberland, which is near where I am, was totally, you know, England wasn't England. We hadn't unified as an entire country then. So if you were from Northumberland, that was where your allegiance was, and the noble lords were who you were bound to. Obviously, as a country, we still had like nationwide kind of rules, and there was a nationwide king, obviously, but we were then still separated into these separate little feudal counties. So yeah, that bits of Hadrian's Wall were stolen by farmers to highlight the barriers of their land, and that genuinely happened. Same with, like, you know, a lot of things were illegal. Like William Shakespeare was apparently once arrested for hunting deer on the Queen's land, which was totally against the law. And I don't know how he got away with it or what happened, because his father and mother weren't exactly rich folk. But I think that's what then resulted in him becoming a little bit more pro Queen Elizabeth. He had like a debt to pay. It's really interesting, like, because obviously it's so strange how much we know about like how much we know about like Geoffrey Chaucer's life, who was a poet in the 1300s. But 200 years later, much of the stuff surrounding William Shakespeare, and whether or not he like literally did write all of that stuff, is shrouded in mystery, which I find absolutely fascinating, given that, you know, you would think record keeping advances as the years do, and apparently not. Obviously, a lot of records were destroyed in like the Great Fire of London, and we had the plague to contend with and everything. But yeah, you would think there'd be more available on Shakespeare than Chaucer, for example. Although, in fairness, Geoffrey Chaucer did get himself in a fair bit of trouble. He was arrested and imprisoned in France. Yeah, that's exactly what I think he did, Ian. I definitely think he wrote, like, and you can see it. He was very, he wrote a lot of pro Queen Elizabeth plays and stuff. So it could well be that that's why he had a debt to play out. Well, I'm happy to share any of the history that I do know. I really enjoy it's especially like theatre history. That's something that I do have a little bit of an extensive knowledge in, especially being like the Shakespeare buff that I am. But yeah, there's a whole kind of I don't know if you've seen the film or heard of the film Anonymous. It was like a period drama / thriller that basically disputes the fact that Shakespeare actually wrote all of his work. A lot of people think William Shakespeare never actually existed. He was like a construct of a bunch of other playwrights, namely like Christopher Marlowe and a few others. And Marlowe's actually a very, very interesting figure. If I'm going to be completely honest, I prefer a lot of Christopher Marlowe's writing to William Shakespeare's. He wrote The Tragedy of Dr. Faustus, which is about a guy who sells his soul to the devil in exchange for like immortality or something. Well, no, it's not. It's exchange for wisdom, like wisdom and necromancy or something, sorcery, and eventually Lucifer comes to claim the debt, and he resists as long as he can, and eventually gets dragged to hell right at the end of the play. So, spoiler alert, but it's a great story. Shakespeare in Love is fantastic. It's one of my favourites. I really, really enjoy that film. Okay, so I think after how many pieces do you think are in this wall already? Let's have a guess. Stick some numbers in the chat. How many pieces have we made? Have we put in this wall so far, just to get it to this? The donkeys can't jump, can they? I hope they can't, because they'll definitely be able to clear this wall, and I may have to build it another few. But there we have it. We have our stone wall. 600 and 500. Any advances? Oh, no, Georgia. Was it the one with Arthur Darvill in it? I'm waiting. Oh my God, no! I'm so jealous. I was desperate to see that, and obviously, like, yeah, it's a lot of money on the train from Newcastle to London. Oh, that's so good. I like it was right at the peak. So I was never a massive Doctor Who fan. And then, like, the David Tennant series and everything kind of passed me by. I watched it a little bit. Christopher Eccleston was fantastic. I remember watching the Empty Child episode at a caravan in Bournemouth with my dad, and I was like, this is great. Then the David Tennant one was a little bit soft for me, and then Matt Smith's Doctor is, like, my Doctor. That was the series that I was like, I love this show, and I think it's fantastic. And then Arthur Darvill was amazing in that. And then, obviously, after that, he kind of had this little bit of a boom where he was getting cast, and then he went back to theatre, got cast in Dr. Faustus, which is one of my favourite plays of all time, and my God. As well, at the Globe, to be in the standing section at the Globe Theatre, that must have been incredible. Interesting how the atmosphere has changed, though, from what it was like. Because the standing section now is probably one of the calmer sections of the Globe, but back in Shakespeare's time, you'd be getting punched in there. It's rowdy. There'd be drink getting spilled all over the place. You'd probably be standing in horse muck, and you might get pushed to the floor and land in the horse muck, which nobody wants. Yeah, so that's amazing. I'm very, very jealous that you got to see that. That must have been an incredible experience. Yeah, yeah. That's the one thing that might I would imagine happen. Right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to find these larger blocks that we put in. Actually, I'm going to leave the large blocks in because they do act as a nice base. But we're going to... Ah, Mamma Mia. I saw one of the arena tours of Mamma Mia in Newcastle, and I really, really enjoyed it. It's one of those jukebox musicals that I actually really, really enjoy. I'm not like a massive fan of them. The Meatloaf one's pretty good as well. Bat Out of Hell. That's very, very good. Great story, really well done. And of course, Jim Steinbeck is, his main like musician. He wrote a lot of the songs for it and adapted it, and I think that was amazing. So what I'm trying to do now is just highlight. Oh, really, Georgia? You know what? I would recommend it. I think it's a really, really good show. It's very rowdy, I think. It wasn't particularly rowdy when I saw it, but it was an arena show, so we were in a big arena and everything was kind of spread out and well organized. But I would imagine if you're in like a slightly smaller venue and you've got all of that going on, and because it's like a jukebox musical and a lot of mams are very, very into ABBA, it can get quite out there. And right, okay, so what I've done here is just flipped this, and now we have two wall sections. So yeah, it's not great at the moment, theatre etiquette. I think a lot of people need a bit more of an education. And it's a bit of an odd one because there's all this talk about making theatre more accessible to like working class communities and things. But when you have people who are used to theatre acting like that, it doesn't set a good example at all. And it's very, very strange. I don't really get it. I don't understand why people are being really rude in theatres at the moment. Anyway, right, that wall is done, and I think that's looking pretty sharp. The next kind of thing is going to be we're not going to put any like barriers on the sides of this. Now what I need to do is run a fence along the top that's going to be like a continuous fence. Or actually, do we want to run a fence along it? Do we want to just cap it with some more stones? Because some farms and stuff, when they do this, they actually line the top with slate, don't they? So maybe we can get some smaller pieces here and try and just fit in something. What about these steps? Oh, yeah, this is going to do it. Do you? What Oh, Ian. Well, we have all... we can all definitely... I think we've all had some stories. Definitely not working. I've never worked in one, but I have certainly... I know a lot of people who have worked box office, worked front of house in theatres, and I've witnessed it as an audience member myself. So I think... I've certainly seen some things, nowhere near as many as you will have, but yeah, that's it's quite nice that everybody is on the same page in terms of things. So these steps, we're now going to kind of give them a little bit of a rotation, and what you'll see is, if you ever get a chance to see these farm locations, is they will have a lot of slate like this, where it's just kind of sticking out the top at an angle. And it's not always at the same angle. They vary a little bit sometimes. So we will be able to just put these in and give them slight rotations. Not too much, but just enough so that we kind of have... Is that going to work? Is it going to be too... I think that's going to be too samey. We're getting rid of them. That's not going to work. So we've capped it with these long things. And then we're going to start finding... What we want is something that's a bit angular, but that will still allow us to rotate. I think this might be a good block to have on the top here. So we'll put in a couple of these smaller pieces here. Well, Planet Zoo is certainly a good world to escape to. But yeah, so we can definitely talk a little bit more about the world of theatre because myself, I acted, I directed. Georgia has been to a lot of shows and is a big musical theatre fan. We've certainly got a few more musical theatre buffs in the chat from time to time. So yeah, it's definitely something that we can all connect to. But I think not putting a fence on the top of this has been the right call because it's going to allow us to finish off with these extra pieces right on the top. And it's certainly, yeah, I think this is going to make it really nice. And if it turns out that our wonderful Somali Wild Asses can escape this... Oh, God, that's big. Scared me. Can we fit a block on the top? Oh, no, that's going to be far too much. We're just going to have to continue these all the way along. I think even this is a bit too thick. No, we can sink that down. It does stick out of one side, but that's okay. And then we'll just keep the rocks coming. I didn't check how many we had in. You all made a guess. If anyone would like to improve their guesses now that I've finished the... I'm almost done with this and have the... kind of almost final piece count in, you are welcome to change your guess. But I don't think it was as high as 500 or 600, mind. So if you guys are right, I will be very surprised. I am actually going to put some of these steps in because I think it will give us a little bit of a differential on here, but I'm not going to have them at such an angle. I'm just going to put in a couple sticking out the top here. Like that. Okay. Oh, thank you, Aero, and welcome to the stream. Glad you could catch one. Right. This is looking real cool. I'm very happy with this. So, the piece count on the wall is 349. Oh my God, Georgia, the workshop blueprints. I'll do it, I promise. I'm not actually sure, Ian. I'm gonna Google that now. Let's have a look at what the core... yeah, that's ringing a bell. Ah, okay. Core bells are interior stuff. It's like a bit of stone, wood or metal jutting from a wall to carry a... it's like a bracket, a core bell. Yeah, core bells are brackets. I don't know what the top of these walls are called. But the great thing about this now is I'm not going to put any decorative items on there. But what we can now do is if I just click... Where's my Somali Wild Asses? This is like a gateway to demonetization, isn't it? They are hungry at the moment because I have put them in. Africa Desert. Obviously, we cannot do this for... I don't want to do it for the blueprint. But what we could potentially do now is go to the Edit tab again. Go back to our Nature tab. And let's just use this small drin grass. We can just put some at the base here. And then get these, like, not the Ratusa bushes. They're far too big. Do we have anything else that we could put in? Maybe just some dry patches of drin grass. If we then just rotate this a touch, there should now be enough of a kind of thickness of the wall to add some of this in, just poking out the brickwork. And maybe drin grass wasn't the best idea, but this is why I'm not actually going to be doing this on this build, because unless I change the way the barrier is, we're not going to be able to do it, because our Somali Wild Asses, they don't like any foliage other than African desert plants. However, if we were somewhere like, I don't know, let's just, for example, go with a temperate biome. And we'll make it a European temperate biome, where we can get access to something like the... Let's go with dog rose bush. No, they're way too big. Lady fern. No. Maybe... If we just get something really small, we can just put it in sticking out. Although, hang on. These... Topiary hedge. That's not going to work. Ooh. No. I know you know what I'm trying to do, but I need to show it so that I feel justified in my decisions here. If we just get a medium nettle patch here. Nah, that's not going to work either. What we need is something that looks good sticking out from the side of something. It may well be that we can just use the moss. Oh, saltwort. So if we just grab this saltwort and put it on a bit of an angle, we can sink it into the side of the wall and just have little bits of it poking out. There we go. Now it's kind of resembling something. Obviously from the front it doesn't look amazing. Because that front-on view is not the best. But when you get down and you get like a little side profile of it and you see bits of it sticking out, it looks like how I'm wanting it to look. The other option would be to not use any of these and just find some of the mossy... Some of the smaller mossy rocks, like these ones here. And just layer them in here as well. Just some tiny little bits sticking out. And that would really just kind of add the finishing touch to this. And give everything that, like, final texture. Which would basically just complete the whole thing. But I want to leave that up to, like, the decorator. So I'm going to leave it all bare. Because what we need to do now is actually incorporate this into the habitat here. So now that it's done, we can actually just duplicate in advance. We're going to duplicate the wall first. Then we will just bring it along to here. And we'll put it, just have a little bit of an instep. And we'll actually have it start here. So this is the moment of truth, because now we need to edit our barrier. We're going to make it all a null barrier. And then we can start duplicating an advanced move. And then we start to bring it all in. And we can also just throw in a little bit of a rotation so we can spin this all the way around. And then this is where things can start looking really good. So it's pretty obvious that that is two of the same designs just stuck together. But what we can now do is go to our group edit tool and just edit this and then start taking out a couple of blocks. And because we have that backdrop of the larger bricks, what we'll actually start to see is it becomes very easy to make each piece look different. But we always need to make sure we're duplicating this original piece because that's the one that has all of the bricks in it. So again, we just grab another section and bring it around. Now, what we need to do, because you can see here, it doesn't quite adhere to the path. It's starting to go a little bit too far into our habitat. So we'll just bring it forward a little bit. And to make it look a little bit more rustic, we're just going to give a slight rotation to this wall piece that we've got here and start adding in a little bit of mazy rotation to it. Thank you, Aaron. Planet Zoo takes a lot of patience, so you got to have it if you're going to make something very intricate. I'm just pleased to not be doing something more like rock work like I normally do. Building something a little bit more unique in terms of fences and things is my favorite thing to do. So it's quite nice to have that option on stream. And to be fair, streaming the game has really helped me keep a level of patience, because I do get very the time-consuming nature of it can be very, very frustrating when it comes to Planet Zoo. Hello, Wolfie. How are you doing, Wolfie? And welcome to the stream. Are you not participating in Mid-Year Mayhem tonight? Yeah, I mean, honestly, having people to chat to and comment on things while you're doing it helps a lot. And it's kind of the same with 2 Point Campus when you're designing something. I think any game where there's a design aspect in it, if you aren't fully immersed in it and that is your kind of jam, I think you really, like, you need to be talking it through with people. Oh, well, I'm pleased to provide something chill for you today, Wolfie. But now if we just have a little look at it as like a whole, I think that looks really nice. I'm very, very, very pleased with this. Are you taking a selfie there? No, you're taking a photo. Is this guy in the photo, or is he just photo bombing? They're taking a selfie and a wall's just popped up. Yes, we have them, Wolfie. That's next week's video. This weekend, it's back to the crater. I'm going to finish moving this all the way along. And then what I'm going to do, rather than going on and building habitat stuff, I'm going to start building the backstage area, which is here. Oh, God, that needs repaired. Somebody's not doing their job. And then we'll carry this on. But what I want to talk about after I've built this, before anything, is the new feature. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, I think when I first started playing City Skylines, I had absolutely no patience with it. Now that I've done Planet Zoo on stream for a while, my level of patience has changed a little bit, and I'm finding City Skylines a lot easier to play. So that's that's been a learning curve. I'm not quite there with Planet Zoo yet. When I'm building stuff, I do have a tendency to... it feels sometimes, and this is why I've started mixing things up. It's why I've started the Crater series. It's why I'm coming back to Old Town this week. It just feels quite repetitive after a while, especially when you're trying to stick to a theme. That's when things start to get quite difficult, and it's easy to get like frustrated and a bit like disheartened with something, especially when the process isn't going too well. Now, the one thing I want to do here with this wall section, because as you can see, we've reached the building itself. We're going to put a custom gate in here. So I'm going to grab this wall section. We're going to rotate it all the way through. Bring it to here. Move it across. And again, rotate all the way up to this area. I totally understand that, Georgia. It's very easy to kind of get in that rut with gaming. Like, I've been playing a lot of different stuff outside of the channel in my own kind of time just to get a break from it all. So I started playing some, like, Souls-like games and things, which I would never put on here because you guys don't want to watch me struggle on the first boss of a Souls-like game for 3 hours. But I'm finding the challenge of playing some of those games quite nice, and it helps me kind of focus a little bit more. Because when you spend 3 hours building in Planet Zoo, your brain can just turn to mush. I sound like I'm complaining, but I promise I'm not. Right, so this area here, what I want to do is I want to grab this part of the wall, and we are going to just take out the entire middle section here. And whatever's left, we're going to continue to take out. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. I really don't want to do that, actually. You would watch it because you like to see me tortured, don't you? That's that's what I'm picking up on here, Georgia. We're gonna, yeah. What I'm gonna. So at first, I was gonna have this as kind of like. Oh, I just realised this is such a good idea. Or is it? Yes, it is. It is. We're gonna rotate this all the way around. We're going to bring it to here so that it matches up. And then we're going to continue this on to here. And then there. And then we'll rotate this section around. Bring this to here. Down to here. I did have a feeling. Right, so now, here's where I'm going to really, really enjoy making a few adjustments. We're going to edit this barrier here. We're going to grab this entrance, and we're going to... No, we're not. We're going to edit the barrier. I'm going to take this null barrier section here. We're going to move that up to this point. And then we're going to grab this and move this so that it's in the wall. But we're not finished, because the next step is to come back here, edit this, and then we take out Alright, that's looking good. And I think we'll come back here and we'll just get rid of that. And then I'm going to grab a couple of these pieces here. Duplicate them. And then the path, we're going to make it... I'm going to get rid of this. Oh, damn. This is broken because I've done this. Staff path. There we go, that's that fixed. And then if we just come from here. There. Yes, good. Right, that works. Now we've got a really nice little gateway into the habitat. And what we'll then do is, just here on the corner, we're going to just duplicate a couple of pieces from the wall. We'll pull them out a touch, and then we'll add them here. Alright, that is a nice rustic wall. What I want to do now is I'm just going to unpause things. Because I just need to make sure that the donkeys can't escape. Yes! Fabulous. They can't jump it. Oh, apparently they can jump this bit here, by the looks of things. But what can they jump over there? It's apparent there's one section here. One section there that they can actually jump over. How weird. Right, next. We've been on this for nearly an hour now, so I'm just going to have a quick break. But while we are on this break, I'm just going to play through. If I just go to the cinematic route editor, I've set this up for you, so you can feel free to watch it while I have like a 2-minute break. We're going to just put it on loop. Now, I don't know if that loop is going to look right. I thought it would just go back, but it's actually going to loop all the way back to the beginning, which means I think it's going to go underground and look horrible. Okay, so I have 351.9 seconds to take a quick break. And while that's happening, I hope you enjoy this tour of Old Town. Some of you have already seen it, so I hope you enjoy the cinematic camera. I think it's the best feature that they've added in the entire history of the game, because my word, does it make a difference. So, I'm going to say bye. My face is going to leave for a moment. If I just manage to get the right setting done. Let me just take a look. We get rid of this. There's my face is gone. And that's gone. Excellent. Right. We are ready to go. I hope you're ready. This is my voice. My voice is gone.
He's your term of pod, won't he? Abulas.
Okay. Hello. I'm back. Yeah, sorry about the reset. I realised that I I had a drink as soon as I vanished off camera and knocked it all off. So when I'd actually I'd put my drink back down and my mouse is super sensitive, so it moved the mouse, which then turned the UI back on, and the mouse was hovering over the pause button. The UI just doesn't go away when you're hovering over the pause button, so I had to restart it. And yeah, that's the one problem. And then I was watching it for a little bit and realised I hadn't unpaused the game, so yeah, it totally ruined the immersion of it. Have noticed a little bit of stuttering in there, but yeah, that's nothing I can change at the moment. But yeah, it's looking really cool, and yeah, it really highlights all of the work that's gone into it. Also, it highlights some of the things that could be done with improving. So that's something that I need to watch out for, and maybe come back to this. But like I said at the start of the stream, we never actually finished Old Town. The farming area has been waiting for new animals for quite some time, so my plan is to dip back over here every now and then and just take a little bit more of a look at it, get it really fleshed out and finished off, and then we can add in those finishing touches like we did with the entrance. So yeah, still a lot to do, but I think it's looking really nice. And actually being able to sit back and see it like this, you kind of realize how much has gone into it. And that's one of the best things about the new feature. I can program this, take my hands off the keyboard, and just play it and watch and see what it all looks like. So I'll probably do a little bit of a tutorial on how to do this, because it's a little bit intricate, but once you get it down, it's a really nice feature. And it's just about making sure that the camera has a path to go through where everything looks and you don't get any of it clipping through. Like here at the end, we pull out through a window, and it means that we don't clip through anything at all. And then we come up. sometimes when you program things in, it auto paths. So where it might kind of seem like you've pathed something, the way that the camera sweeps down can sometimes lead to it going underwater or through the terrain, which looks awful. So you have to put in some extra camera steps just so that the AI, I suppose, or the game engine knows exactly where it needs to go. But it's really nice to do this and see this, and now it would also help to do, like, you can use it for even smaller ones, like, you know, when you see my end of episode tours, there's pans and stuff, but they're always very you know, you really have to be careful with the getting it exactly right to make it work. Like if someone's escaped, one of the donkeys has escaped, let's quickly go and find out where. Oh, there, it's round the back here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's literally here. Ah, leave me alone. Oh, one of our striped skunks has passed away as well. See, he's gone back in. What a good donkey. Good man. Well done. Well done. So yeah, if I just do a quick demo, say I want to kind of do like a low sweeping shot, we have to hide the UI and then do this. And it has a very definitive speed to it. Whereas if you are zoomed out, it pans a little slower. Now, with the brand new cinematic camera, if we just get to the cinematic route editor, and rather than doing this one, I just start a new route. I then add a keyframe here. Basically what it does is it adds a keyframe to your exact camera position at that time. So if we just get rid of this one, and then I come back in here, say I want to do that exact pan that I've just done. If I add a keyframe here, then pan across, and then add a keyframe in after that one, I can then play this route. Currently, it's very fast. Hello, Polly. But if I now slow the route speed down to 20, it does a very slow pan, and we can adjust that speed to get a nice smooth pan. So if we have it at -12, we get this lovely little pan across, and we can just adjust that, and it just means I don't have to spend any time going through and changing all these aspects of it and waiting and trying to get the perfect pan in. The camera work does it for you now. So I can do all of the stuff that I would normally do in my editing suite in the game. I can set my recording away, I can hide my UI, I can get this nice smooth pan going. And it doesn't have to be like this all the time. What we can do is, let's for example say, rather than doing a sideways pan, I want to just do a nice, if we just get rid of these two. If I want to do a tracking shot, I add my keyframe here, and then let's say I just want to track in a straight line across here. So I do that, then I go forward, and then I add this next keyframe. Then we have a nice simple tracking shot, and if we hide the UI, it will slowly track forward, and again, I don't have to do any panning, no messing around with the sensitivity of the mouse or the keystrokes and everything, and it's just going to make the end tour pieces so good. It is an absolute game changer, Georgia. Honestly, so good. And then what I can do is, now, if we want to get really artsy with it, before I dive back into the build, what we could do is, let's, for example, so getting a smooth pan can be like an absolute game changer for content creation in terms of like how you sell a zoo. So let's say the best way to do it is, for example, if I want to show off this area, let's go to an area where I would kind of like to do a nice smooth transition. So let's, for example, take the badgers here. Now, for setting up a good tracking shot, the best thing to do is to use... Oh, well, yeah, you've got to... you've got to catch the Lamb of God premiere. Easy. So, what you need to do for a good tracking shot in your editing is you use your terrain to transition between things. So, you've probably seen this a few times where you will see a camera pan along and then end its pan at a wall. It will then seemingly go through that wall and then emerge at the next wall. This is how I like to do things normally. But getting that right is nigh on impossible. It's so time consuming. But now with this, I can put in my keyframe here. I can tell the game that I want to track along to here where I'd stop it. Now what I can do is play that, and then this would be cut out in the edit. But we've got this lovely smooth pan coming around. You will see this badger habitat, and then I would record this bit. Once that recording is done, what I would normally do is find my next habitat and find another tree. Let's, for example, go over to the Shawalski's horse habitat here. And I'm just going to tell the game that I want to pan here. So we'll add in a new keyframe. And then we'll go to another tree. Sorry, this is going to be a bit of a mess. And I want it to pan through these trees here. So this is my next keyframe. What the game has done now is automatically put in a route for us. What I would actually do, though, is we'll change the route speed so it's a little bit faster. So what the game is now going to do is it's going to connect all of these pieces with the route. But what I'd actually be doing is separating these into two separate cuts. So my first pan would cut at this tree. And then for the purpose of the route, you're going to see the camera pan all the way around here. This entire section would be cut out and it would resume here. So in the edit, it would cut between this bit here. So what we'd have is a nice fade transition coming into our badger habitat here. The camera sweeps across. We'll play the game just for the purposes of this. And then this is the cut. So we'd cut here and it would actually fade. Now this entire section that you're going to see now wouldn't actually be in an edit because there's nothing to see. And what we'd end up doing is going right through to the next section. And we can even program it in here. So, now if we play this again, and I just go back to my route editor, I'm going to make the speed a little bit faster in this section here. We'll go to that, and then we'll go back to this route. Yeah, let's play that again. Right, so it's a little bit faster now. So, what I'd do in the edit, I'd make a nice fade transition as we come to this tree here. And we'd fade out into this section here. And it will just make that whole process much easier, much smoother. The end of episode tours will look so nice. And like that is why this is one of the best features they've added to the game. Because you can really be artistic in your creativity with showing off builds. And that's why. It is just one of the best features for content creators they've ever made. It's so clever. It means that, you know, you can really play around with, as like a video editor, thinking with a cinematic brain on things and how you would want to show things off. You can really, really, really make the most of things. Anyway, we're going to make a backstage area now. And I've already earmarked where I want it to go. So we'll imagine that this will continue all the way along here. But we actually need to do it on this group, because I want this to be a huge backstage building. Luckily, we have... do I want to... Yeah, I do want to do it on here. And we might then end up needing to adjust this wall, but that's absolutely fine. And we're going to make a simple brickwork barn for this. But I don't want to use these brick walls because we can't actually colour them. So we're going to need to find a nice thing that we can paint. And what I might do is something that you're going to see again this weekend is use the... what kind of stone was it? It's not the dry stone. I can actually... you can recolour the European rustic walls. So I think... Is that going to be too much of a similar contrast though? I mean, I have used these and I do like to use these rustic stone pieces. In fact, this might work better. Yeah, it's decided. We're going to use these rustic stone pieces here. And we're going to run this all the way around to create the basic foundation of this backstage area. And it's going to continue all the way along here. And we're going to put in like a little edge that comes out. Maybe here. Here. There. Yeah. And this is going to be kind of like a fake staff entrance area. So they're going to be able to come into here. We'll make like a little bit of a... Let's carry this on. And we'll double window here. And then we will add in a... We're going to block this off, but it's actually going to be a doorway. So we put like a fake door in there. Have this all open out. In fact, I know what I'm going to do. I'm gonna leave that open, and then we'll put the door right there on that piece, and then we'll adjust the barrier so that it actually goes into here, so that the donkeys can come in here, and then the staff can get a little bit of a look at them outside, out of the staff room. I think that'll be a cool little idea. And then we'll just continue this wall on all the way along here. Now, I'm not going to build the other half of this yet, because over on this side, I'm probably going to put in the sand cats. So I want to leave that edge of the building for the time being. I don't know how far I'm going to extend it, but it is going to be a flat roofed structure. It's going to be a bit higher than this though. So I want to go up another 2 meters on top of the wall that we've already put in. Probably to around about here. And that's going to be where my flat section ends. Let's put a 4 meter wall in. And then we'll top it with a 1 meter wall. There we go. Right. So, what's then going to happen is we're going to have a gradual step down from this section. So actually we may need to make that a little bit smaller. So what I want to do is I want to have this end here. Oh no, it's fine. And then that goes to there. There we go. Right. Nice, nice, nice. That's what I was after. Yeah, that works. So we can actually, we'll get rid of these sections here. And then this piece comes along, slots in, and we do the same here. So we've got like a little barn there for our donkeys. So the next step is going to be to put in some little dividers here. But the problem with these is you can see on the grid where they can and can't be placed. And what I want to do is I want to have them right in the middle of the grid. So what we need to do is we need to grab a double section and then go to our panels here. We want to go position snap it to the top of that, and then rotate it around. In fact, we actually may need to use the 1x2s. Yeah, that's right, that's better. So we're going to confirm that for now, and then we're going to add in another section here, bring that out, which should connect up and match the textures appropriately. Yep, there we go. Then we grab the two of them and we just push these into position. Get them right on the halfway mark and then slide this down. And then we remove these sections here and we've got it just about right on the middle of the grid, which is exactly what we're looking for. And then we grab them both again, duplicate an advanced move, and then bring them back into position on this side. I think that's about right. Could come along a little bit further. But actually, before I do any of that, what I should do is make this my main kind of branching part, and then do all of the fence work on this for now. So while we have this, what I want to do for the backstage area is add on like little bits of wood and things like that. So we're going to go back to our Arctic wood, which has been the cornerstone of some of the builds in Old Town. So we need to bring that theme back, and Arctic wood in this game is just absolutely perfect. So it works for absolutely everything. I think it's the best wood textured piece in the game, certainly. So that comes in, and we want to just have it sticking out a little bit. And then on the front of it, we're going to put the, where is it? There's like a topper of some description. I definitely saw it somewhere. I didn't expect it to be this far down, but there it is. And then that just sinks into the ground there. Like that. And then we move it back. In fact, we'll do that, and then if we grab the wooden post topper here, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna sink this down into the ground like that, and then we'll grab the topper and we'll flip that round, bring it up so that it's there, and then we're gonna push it back just a touch, so that the texture doesn't clip through that lovely design there. And then at the back, I'm going to use these 4-meter posts to create a nice decorative back bar for the actual wall piece. And they'll go right up to the top. But we're going to put like a flat roof on top of that and build a ladder going up to it so that there's some storage area right at the top there. So what we're getting is this nice effective piece here. And then we'll bring this right to the front. I think maybe 4 meters is a bit too tall, so we might have to bring all of that down a little bit. But we then grab this piece here. what I could do, let's just use this as a guide so I can tell what's too tall. And then we'll grab these decorative bits and just bring them down a little bit so that they're a little bit more flush with where I'm going to put my roof section. Then we'll take Arctic wood beam again and bring this all the way up to the top. Remove that, and now we're starting to really form up our backstage section. Next, we're going to need to put something in between here just to give a little bit more of a separation. But I also want to grab another Arctic wood beam and just pull it down so that we kind of have like a little bit of an area on the top there, like that. And then we're going to grab some metal. And all we want to do now is find the marquee beams here. We're going to grab that, sink it down. So, we need measurements. And I have found, for measuring, the gable here is brilliant. I think this is the one. Yes, it is, right. So, for gaps like this, I put the gable in, and then I match my bars up right on the middle of the texture as it goes from the red to white. And you just get as close as you can to the center, and that gives you the perfect measuring tool to get perfect gaps every time. Now, I think the middle one is a little bit bigger. Yeah, the middle piece on that is a bit thicker. I was just looking for ways where I could measure things, because I always, when I was doing that, I'd always end up with something that was just way too close together. What you can also do is use one of these square mesh fence panels. So the 4x4 bit here, we could just put that into position, get it lined up as best you can, but then you would kind of go every second one maybe. So yeah, anything that has like a lot of smaller bits in between, you can use that as a guide so that you get straighter edges every time when you have these joins or these sections in between. I don't actually mind that that's a larger gap there in the middle. I think I'm going to leave that because we have 4 here and then another 4 here. So it works still. What I do need to do is move it over this way a little bit, because when I first put the gable in, it was a little bit too... the gable kind of came into that side a little bit too much, so we need to bring that out a bit. And I'm also going to drag this a little bit further into the habitat. And then, I know we can't actually see it, but I want to put this here as well, just to add that like little bit of texture to the piece that we've got here. And that basically creates this backstage bit. Next, what I'm going to do is duplicate all of this. And then now we should get our grid back up. Because what I want to do now is create the individual sleeping pens for our Somali Wild Asses. But the grid doesn't show up. So, Actually, what we can now do is put the grid back in here, right? My genius knows no bounds, because then we can just grab the grid piece here, highlight all of these sections again, and then duplicate this, move it into position and make sure it's just on the right side. Delete those sections there. Now we have a slight problem here. So the next thing to do then, now we know that these are all equidistant. So that is really nice. I'd love to be a dev for this game, but I know nothing about game development. What I would like to do is be the like a cinematic editor for them. that would be a dream. To just kind of use camera tools to advertise the game. I mean, that being said, there are a lot of Planet Zoo creators out there who do this infinitely better than I do. But they don't do it in franchise mode. I'm here for the challenge. I have to make my designs within the budget. So sometimes corners are cut. And I'm not going to be able to do it like all of those people who use Sandbox and have like infinite animal requirements and things and never have to feed them or... But you know, I like the people that come here and watch the content. It's I'd much rather have a small community forever than have a bunch of people who aren't here regularly. That's one of my favorite things about the streams, is seeing so many people starting to become regulars to them. So what I want to do here is just pull this in as close as I can. There. And then we have these nice equidistant areas for our donkeys, asses, whatever we want to call them. But you may know now, or may have noticed, that we're getting a bit of lag. I don't like that. Right, okay, so this piece here, if we just grab it, duplicate and rotate, we rotate it around, then we just knock it in a little bit so that it's not clipping through that pillar, and then bring it forward. There we go. Nice. Right. So that is looking pretty good. The next step is to create a front for this. And what we need to do is just grab our wooden texture here and rotate it all the way around, bringing it in, and then confirm. Do the same here. Now what I want to do, what I like to do, is have the post here stick out a little bit so that those supports look a little bit more in keeping with the actual structural integrity of the building. And then again on this side we have it stick out, if we can, a little bit on that side as well. But because of the way that it's built, we need to just add a little bit of a touch coming out of the other side here. And I wonder if... Ooh, Arctic D. I wonder if there's a little bit of scope here to just push this entire thing along a little bit further so that it disappears there. Not quite, but that should give me enough to be able... Oh, no, it's not. Okay. Right, well, we'll undo that, and then all we'll need to do is just duplicate it and find the 2 meter beam and have that sticking out as well. And then we need to make this a theme throughout. So we're going to need to continue checking back as this building expands so that we can add more of this theme in and try and keep the measurements correct all the way through. So to do that, we're going to actually need to duplicate this. We then need to duplicate and move and bring it to here. And then that actually creates a little bit of a layer and a cove for here. Now I don't particularly like that's a little bit off center there, but because of how small these beams are, I can't actually move it along a little bit to bring it a little bit more central. Actually, we can do that. That doesn't look so bad. So if we just bring that in. Yeah, that works. That works. And it doesn't look too much of a disturbance with the rest of the build. Good, good. Right. Next, we need to put something on here to have like a top layer for storage. And then what we'll do is we'll have like a little bit of a ladder or something attaching onto somewhere so that our keepers are able to get up into this roof section of the barn. I might put it here. And then, yeah, that's where it's going to go. We're going to put like a little bit of a ladder there, but we just kind of eat in. No, I'm not going to put it there. I'm not. We're going to put it here. Yeah, we'll put it there, outside. So they go outside and climb up into this barn section. Oh, no, we're not. We will put it right here. So we'll have a door there. Then we can get rid of this. So this will carry on all the way through. Remember, this is our flat roof section. That's going to form up the main part of this building. And then what we can do is we can we'll put a door there on like this side here. Then we'll have a ladder running up there, which means we will need to extend the flat roof portion all the way along here. So let's just put these wall pieces in. Then we want a floor. Now what I want to do is create a floor that is very much like the wood sections. If I just go to the flat roof and floor pieces, we can go to... I'll show you what I mean, but we're not actually going to do it because the pieces here aren't multicolored. They still haven't done this, but I want to create this using different planks. So if I just grab this here, I'm going to get it to here again. We're going to get rid of that. And then we go back to our Arctic wood. Oh, wait. Arctic wood isn't going to work. Yes, that is correct in both senses of the word, Polly. Absolutely. Right, plank. Now, I really like these water wheel planks from the East Asia pack. I know it's the first one I came to there, but they contrast really well with the actual the wood of the Arctic wood pieces. So we're going to use these, and all we need to do is just get them all the way along here so that they're as close as we can possibly get them. And you'll notice I'm trying to put them in the middle here, and it's because they are actually a thicker texture. So what we need to do is just grab one. I'm going to add it to this there, and if I do this now, you'll see as I try to get it lined up that the gap is so small. So I need to try and get like a bigger gap. And it's also not helped by the fact that the piece here has edges on to assist with clipping together. So, do we have any other planks that we can use for this? I think Indonesian stained timber might be an option. Or what we could actually do is use this as our gap. So if we drop this down like that, move it along here to get it lined up with that plank there, then we can duplicate this and that, keep it on the world axis, and then move this out and get them lined up like that. And then we duplicate and advance move this back in to here. And then take out all of these. Then we take out the Indonesian pieces. And we're not done. We're not quite done, because what we need to do now is select all of these bits . And there we have it. So it's missing one little thing there, though. This timber beam needs to come across here. To there. Lovely. Yeah, that works really well. Really, really well. Very happy with that. Obviously, we'll need to put another timber beam across there, actually, as well. Just to finish off that little transition. But we need to remove bits from this, because this is where our ladder is going to go. So we're going to need to get a little bit creative with that. So what we'll probably do is we'll have a beam going here. To like there. And then bring this one all the way across, and hopefully Now we just need to find something that's going to fit in there. I think we may need to just go one more along. So it's kind of dead center. And then what I'll do is we'll build a little ladder that goes up this side of the wall and hopefully matches perfectly. But I can come back to that. So there's not going to be a great deal of space here. And when we put the roof in, we'll actually find that we can't actually see any of this. So maybe we need to increase things just by another meter. Because what I'd like is, let's just, if we went along one more. Now theoretically what we could do is have like an outside section there that's all covered. That's what we're going to do. We'll pull all of this out a bit more. And then again, because then when we put the roof section in, now, if I just grab like a random roof here. We've got a kind of awning there. And then when we look in from the bottom, you'll just get a sight of it. And also it gives us enough space to kind of, you'll be able to maneuver around in there as a person. Because that's that's 2.5 meters tall. So you've got just enough space. And then we could put like a little bit of a fence in there along the top just to finish it all off. And it doesn't look too small, and then we'll frame all of that. I think that's the way to go. So we'll add that extra meter on just because it's going to make all of the difference, and we can put some windows on the roof section as well, but we're a bit far away from doing the roof, and yeah, we've got loads more to finish off first. So I'm going to take these bits off, leave the height as it is, and let's build a little bit of a ladder. And then I think we'll probably call it there because we've done quite a lot today. We've built that nice custom wall that, again, I'll need to come back to and delete bits of rock from it as well so it doesn't look like such a repeating pattern. But again, that'll all come when we start designing the wall. So let's designing some of the interior parts of the habitat, sorry. So we just want a metal ladder, basically. And again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the mesh here. And we want to grab this panel. The 4x4 meter mesh. Pop that down. Then we're going to just get it back on the world axis. Come around here. And then we're going to get metal. Now, I remember when I was younger, my dad had this massive red metal framed ladder. and it had such a weird mechanism to put it up, and you had to be really careful with it, because if you trapped your fingers in it, it was like a guillotine. It was absolutely awful. And I will never ever forget the red ladder, so I'm going to make this my red ladder. So this is another way to use stuff to measure. We're going to take the mesh again, and this is a 4-meter mesh. So if we were to go like halfway, we know that's 2 meters. And then if we cut that in half again, we know we're around about the 1 meter mark. And what you want to do is, with these rounded shapes, they're about as thick as one of the gaps in the mesh. And if you get it halfway, you can then move them into position a little bit easier. So as we can see, this is just about right. Then all we need to do is get this second piece and match it up properly. Like that. All done. Metal. Alright, we're nearly there. So, it had wooden slats on it. So, if we can find some... In fact, the Indonesian wood pieces that we've just used as a measuring... What did I just type there? Indonesian. There we go. I wonder if these bark panels would work. No, they're terrible. It's not going to work. The very slim Indonesian timber planks will work perfectly here. And I've just realised what we're going to need to do is have a little bit of an angle. So before we put that in, I want to grab all of these pieces here. We're going to do a slight rotation on them. Ever so slightly. Lean it forward. Like that. And now, hopefully, when we come back to edit this, I'm actually going to group them now. We can then edit, find these Indonesian timber pieces, again, the plank. And then we have a guide now, because these should act like small steps. And again, having the mesh here, you can just line up right in the middle where it all is. And I know it's a little bit thicker at the moment, it's a little bit wider than it should be. Oh God. But what we'll do is we'll just make sure that it's set, and as soon as it goes in that tiny little bit, we can then OK that. We'll go up one, up another, and then as you can see, because we have the angle that we're working against here with the posts, you push forward a tiny little bit, and that just creates a natural step for this ladder. And every time we move up a little bit more, the mesh goes further away. So we have to correct ourselves and get it back into the middle. And that gives us a nice smooth angle for our steps. Last one. Right on the top. There we go. Right, now we just pull this back into position. Or into position, rather. Remove the mesh. And we've got that slightly angled ladder, but the steps are all perfectly straight and lined up. We're going to make these red. We'll go with a deep red there, and then we'll make the slats all brown. I kind of feel the same. I have Planet Coaster installed and I really want to get back into it, but I don't know what it was about it, Polly, that I just couldn't do it. And it's exactly the same as this. It's just the animals aren't animals, they're roller coasters. So why is it so difficult? But I could not get it. But there we have it. Our little ladder is now in position. So, people are now able to get up and access that upstairs area. And then all we would need to do is put the door in on that side of it. And then that gives us some nice access. That's absolutely fine, Ian. I am done. The stream is finished. Perfect timing. We've not finished the build, obviously, but we've made a good start on it for next week. And a lot of the bulk is now created. So I can get back into this and do all of the recording. Is that donkey floating? Oh, no, it was... The water's just very shallow there. I thought the donkey was floating. Walking on water. Right, that is me done for this evening. Thank you all for chatting and stopping by. Yeah, I'll see you all next time. And, yeah... thanks again for watching. I will see you whenever. Bye-bye.